So we had some great questions about how to accomplish strengthening the toes from the previous video that I showed. So just to review, you want to be able to spread the toes without raising them up, which is what a lot of people will do at first when the foot is not as strong as it should be. And then next you want to be able to squeeze the toes together without flexing them, which is the other compensation that will happen there. So you want to be able to squeeze them together here. Then we want to be able to flex the toe and big toe without the other toes and press it into the ground. And then we want to be able to move the smaller toes independent of the big toe. So the way that you can accomplish this is if you're having difficulty spreading the toes, you can use some yoga toes to help stretch out the tissue in between. Some people, their toes are already like totally stuck together and they can't actually move them. That's quite a big problem. So you can utilize yoga toes to help spread that tissue in between. But if you can also use your fingers to kind of spread the toe apart and then try to control that and try to hold that position that you put it into. And so even if it comes right back together, just the effort that you're putting in to try to resist it from coming back together is actually helping to strengthen the tissue within itself. So even if it still feels like you're not really doing much, you certainly are. You're actually sending new information through your nervous system about this tissue. So there's that. Or you can also just hold the toe apart and try not to let it come back together, things like that. So now from there, really what you want to start, before you start working on squeezing it together, it's probably going to be easier for you to work on lifting the toe, the big toe, independent of the smaller toes and vice versa. So the trick here is, so what I was doing is trying to lift that toe without involving the smaller toes, but actually if you push the small toes into the ground, and that's going to kind of set a foundation for you, and then try to lift the big toe from there. So set that tension and lift the big toe from there. You can even see how I automatically do it better. And then you can push it into the ground. And so, and then vice versa. Now you're gonna push that big toe into the ground, set some tension, and then lift the smaller toes from there. And so that within itself is an exercise. And if that is still too difficult, then what you can do is actually hold down the toes and lift that big toe. Okay, and so over time, you will be able to progress. And hold this toe down, lift the other ones. So all of this is just giving you more information through your nervous system that you haven't had yet. And it just takes some time to incorporate this and actually get that messaging to start working, and it will happen. It definitely takes time, but if you practice it every day, it will work. So the next step is learning to now squeeze the toes together. So you can take a pen, is helpful, and that way it'll give you some feedback there, having the pen between the toes, and you're just going to squeeze that pen, just give you that feedback. And you're just going to move that in between each toe and squeeze the toe. So now you want to make sure that the pen stays upright and doesn't move really, because then you know that you're doing, flexing the toes, or see, like, you don't want the pen to go like that, because that means you're flexing the toes. So you want to keep that pen straight up to the ceiling. And it's going to be a little tricky there. That's kind of strange. Having that, I have a weird little, actually it kind of feels actually more awkward for me to do it that way. Maybe that means I have a weakness. So anyway, so that's a little tip that you can use to help you strengthen, but basically you need to just assist them and support them to help strengthen the foot actually. Okay, good luck.